All right, good morning, everybody. The storm is now moving into its second phase. We said it was going to be a multifaceted storm. The first part, we've seen snowfall between 7 and 2 inches. I'd say East Granby was the champion with about 7.5 inches. But right now, what we're looking at is the possibility of a 20-degree drop in temperature between now and 6 a.m. Tomorrow morning. And that's going to change the nature of the conditions dramatically, which is why it's still so important that you stay off the roads, because the plows, we have 700 plows that have been going round the clock since last we got together, and they're doing everything they can to clear the roads before the freezing comes, because we don't want that turning into black ice. And I'd say the same to each and every one of you who are able to make sure you do the same on your driveways, because that's going to get very icy by later this afternoon. We have about 11,000 miles of road in this state, so we are on it as best we can. Right now, what we're particularly worried about is with the icy conditions and what that means to the electric grid. And we've been in close consultation with UI and Eversource. You know, most of the outages are in and around southwest Connecticut, going through Essential, the start of the valley. Waterbury and Danbury have some spot outages there, and I've had a chance to reach out to the mayors. New Haven has had a couple of circuits have gone down, and they have over 5,000 homes that are without power at this point. I can tell you that UI is on it. It's a priority, and we're going to take care of that as best we can. Is you got to remember, overall, when you've got wind gusts coming up to 20, 30 miles an hour potentially over the next 12 hours, getting up in those bucket trucks is something you've got to be very careful about. But I can guarantee you it's a priority. The contractors are ready to go, and the staff is ready to go. Overall, across the state, the outage is about 1%. So we've got that as a focus. In terms of what you should be doing right now, if it's an emergency, you dial 911. If you're looking for information in terms of how you should handle things in-house, that's 211. You dial 211. One of the things the group that just briefed me here said is, make sure if you're thinking about your own power and you're thinking about generators, be very careful. Make sure that's not indoors. Make sure that's not a source of potential carbon monoxide poisoning. I will tell you that if you have neighbors who are elderly, if you have neighbors who have a medical condition, reach out to them and see what you can do to help, because we're going to keep a close eye on that. I can tell you that the local operations centers and the electric guys have reached out to them as well by phone call, making sure that they know what response they can have there. I've had a chance to reach out to most of the mayors, and again, I just want to give my shout out to the folks here in this room and the folks in that room back there who have been here, for the last 12 hours, and they're going to be here for the next 24 hours. And if I've learned one thing over the course of this 12 hours that I really want to focus on, is how I can get all the information that you need in one place. We've talked about 911, we've talked about 211, we've talked about going to the Eversource outage grid. You can go to the emergency operations centers. You can find out where the warming shelters are. But if we as a state can make sure that we can easily get this in one place for you, text that or get that out in the social media in a more comprehensive way, I think that'll give us a better ability to give you the information you need going forward. So with that, I just want to, again, thank the 700 folks who have been on those plows over the last 12 hours going nonstop, and their work has just begun. Bring them some cookies if you see them. They deserve a special shout out. The folks here in this room who have been doing their work, and we're going to get through this together. We're hardy New Englanders. With that, thank you very much.
Governor Lamont, what is the state's plan going forward as the temperatures continue to drop?
I can tell you that the Department of Transportation is doing everything they can to make sure our roads, and especially our major roads, are clear of any snow, any ice, anything wet that will potentially freeze and really cause severe problems over the next 12 hours. So if I said priority number one is to make sure that happens, and like I said, I ask people to do that as much as they can on their driveways and the such as well. And number two, working very closely with the electric utilities, doing what we can to fix those circuits and fix those localized outages. And New Haven obviously is a priority with over 5,000 people without electricity right now.
What was the biggest impact that you saw overnight?
The biggest impact we saw overnight, I think, is the snow was erratic. Like I said, southwest Connecticut up through the valley, up through central Connecticut. And, we were anticipating that. This group is ready to go on that, and I think they handled that really well. But this could be a scary part right now as we think about the freezing, thinking about the wind, and making sure we do everything we can to keep power going and do everything we can to make sure those major roads don't freeze over, because that could be dangerous. Again, that's why we urge everybody to stay at home as best you can. Pretty good football on this afternoon, so stay home. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you being here.